He joins me here today live from Tel Aviv, the CEO and founder of Chunk Foods, Amos Golan. Thank you for being with me today. There aren't very many competitors really in steak. You have Beyond Meat steak tips and you have Juicy Marbles. I can't really think of another whole cut steak company. Lots of whole cut chicken, but not a lot of whole cut steak. So I think it's easy to differentiate yourself. And Juicy Marbles isn't in the States. So I think, again, by being really the first in the States, I think that makes a big impact. But why plant-based steak? As I understand it, from your background, you could have gone anywhere in food. Why plant-based steak?
So I think, it was very clear that plant-based is here to stay. I mean, we all know that there are some challenges to the space, especially there's a little bit of headwinds in the last couple of years, especially in retail in the US. But it was very clear to me that plant-based is here to stay. It's a space that's going to grow. There's significant market there. And it was quite surprising to me that everybody's focused on the same segment, which makes sense from let's say a business school perspective. It makes sense to focus on one segment, which is ground meat, which accounts for about, depends on what data you're looking at, but let's say 38 or 40% of the beef market. Makes total sense. The problem is that ground meat is also the cheapest product in the meat aisle. And as we've seen in the last couple of years, price is really price and the experience of flavor and texture and so on are the most important things when it comes to a decision to actually buy a product, right, in the supermarket. So it's a huge hurdle, and it was very strange to me that everyone's focusing on ground meat and not focusing on those other 60% of the meat market, of the beef market, which are more fragmented. So you have more types of cuts, but they're essentially 2 to 3 times more expensive. So the hypothesis was very simple. If I can use the same ingredients, more or less the same inputs to make ground meat or many types of different whole cuts, steaks, roasts, you name it, and I'm going to be able to compete with beef a lot faster and get to price parity from day one with whole cuts, which is going to take maybe decades to do with ground meat alternatives. So this was really the reason. I do still eat meat, and I always wanted, and I still want, and I work on reducing my the consumption of animal-derived products, and so does my family and many of my friends. So, and I just didn't feel like there was a good enough product from a culinary standpoint, as well as from kind of the performance of these products. So the focus was always, also because of my culinary background, was always to create something which will be clean enough, and in terms of the culinary application, will be good enough to serve as something that people want to introduce into their daily diets. So something that would actually become a staple, and not just like a curiosity or a luxury or something that you buy in the supermarket once in a while, like a snack. I wanted this to be an actual food, and for people to perceive it as such. It had to be clean, it had to be cheap enough, and it had to be something that resonates with their preferences. And this is what led us to make beef.